Welcome to 1202, the Human Factors Podcast, the podcast that covers all things about humans, technology, and particularly the bits in between.
Learning from normal work.
Sure.
How are we going to go ahead and do that?
Yeah. So before I focus on what is learning from normal work, let me highlight what is normal work.
Okay.
So, in normal work, this is how people do their jobs that doesn't result in anything undesired. And so as part of that, people adapt to changing conditions and challenges as part of their job. We call it performance variability or adaptability. And so, for example, imagine lifting a load using a crane. Every time an operator does this activity, there may be something different about the situation. So, for example, on Tuesday, they've got less time available than they planned for because there was an unexpected delivery of new parts, which took some resources. On next week, there was they were changing some parts of the plant, and so there were additional people in the area that you needed to account for in your lifting space. Next week, one person is off work. So now instead of 2 or 3 people that's typically needed to manage the lift, you've got one less. And so you need to adapt to that. Another week, another team was managing a similar lift, and they took your lifting slings, and now you don't have the correct tools. And so those are the challenges that that people have to deal with. And overcoming those challenges is part of what needs to be done to complete the task. But that adaptation to those challenges may increase the risk of something going wrong, but also is an opportunity for improvement. And there are many situations where people find ways to improve and reduce the risk. But that work through adaptations is normal work. Now, learning from normal work, is about proactively looking into the things that make the execution of work difficult. And here lies one of the differences compared to the mainstream safety management, because in the safety, the foundation of safety is identification of hazards and controlling them. And hazards are things with the potential to cause harm, and typically they refer to our physical objects or energies. And these are engineering concepts with physical objects or energies. So we identify an object or energy that we need to control that can cause harm, and we introduce a control in place. And that's important. You can build safety leadership and focusing on safety behaviors as well. But those challenges, those things that make the work difficult, is a new category. Well, not new from the point of view of the science, because it's been out there for a long time, but it's fresh from the practitioner point of view, that there is something different other than hazards and behaviors that contributes to risk. And those things are typically not captured by hazard identification or behavioral safety. Using the human factors speak, you could use terms like usability, accessibility, right? But those terms do not land very well on the shop floor or in the front line. So perhaps instead of asking people, describe the usability of this user interface for me, we can ask, what makes completing this job difficult? So we simplify the language, use as much of natural language as possible. And so things like visual similarity of valves, right? So there is no clear distinction between them. Outdated procedures that include steps that don't have to be done with this task. Lack of correct tools, problem with access. Those things cannot be classified as hazards because they on its own, they do not have potential to cause harm in the same way as, for example, chemical agent has, or heat, right? But they do contribute to risk. And we do find them in accident investigations. And this is now an opportunity, because now we know them, we can shed light on them, we can enable organizations to find them and address them and reduce the risk, along of other elements in safety management.